Hello, welcome back to our third video in this series on releasing tension in the jaw. Today our focus is going to be on posture. So I'd like to preface just by saying that there really is no bad posture, it's how long we stay in any position that may cause the problems. So today we're going to focus on thinking about our posture a little bit, moving in different ways to release some of those habitual patterns. And it's a great little video as well to do throughout your day, so you can take on board some of the tools that we use just to get you moving and free up space in your body throughout your day, especially if you tend to be in one kind of fixed position, whatever that might be, right? And yeah, because our posture has a big impact on our breath as well, and we know that our breath is directly impacting our nervous system also, and our brain. So all you'll need today is just yourself. So if you have a yoga mat or any little space that you have free and available for you at home, go ahead and get yourself set up. Okay, so go ahead and get yourself set up in a standing position, something that feels comfortable, feet a little closer or wider apart, see what feels good for you. We're going to start just by thinking a little bit about our pelvic position. So our pelvis is kind of this area that we refer to often as our hips. And if you think about it, our pelvis is the base of our spine. So whenever we're sitting, that's the foundation of our spine. Whenever we're standing, that's going to kind of dictate how our spine is positioned as well. So thinking about it a little bit can be really helpful. And what you might do initially is just kind of think about or see if you can feel, or maybe even take a picture or have a little look in a mirror to see what's the natural positioning of your own pelvis, right? So we can have a kind of lengthened tailbone, this kind of flattening out of the lower back as a natural standing position, or maybe even a little bit of an accentuated sort of bend in it, where our lower back has more of a rounding shape. And neither one of these is inherently wrong, but we don't want to be stuck in any one position. We want to have this ability to move back and forth in between these positions as well. Right, so neutral is generally thought of as being a good position for the rest of our spine to have its natural kind of stacking order, and for all the muscles and tendons and fibers to have that beautiful kind of tensegrity that holds our body in space, right? So we're just going to bring a little bit of movement into the pelvis just to see if there's any sticky places that are maybe holding our pelvis in any one position. So we just want to free it up a little bit. So really listen into your body so it feels right. Keep the movements as little micro movements if that feels best, or maybe explore slightly bigger movements if that feels good in your body, okay? So we might just start with placing one hand on your lower belly and the other hand onto what is called our sacrum, so the center of the lower back here. And we're just going to gently start to bend the knees, send the hips back in space, and come up, straightening the legs. Hips move slightly forward, bend the knees, send the hips back in space. So I think of almost like we're creating like a little circle, a little wave. So the hips move back, legs straighten, hips move forward. So again, you can start to feel with the hand placement how that movement is in your body today. Does it feel a little sticky in any places? Does it feel quite nice? Do you want to explore moving a little bit faster? Do you want to slow it right down? Do you want to keep the movements really small? Or is it only sort of available to keep the movements small today? And that's perfect. We're just kind of bringing a little bit of movement into this beautiful, stabilizing, supporting joint of the sacrum and the ilium. So the ilium are the two kind of elephant-shaped ear bones that sit at the side of the sacrum. Okay, and then we're going to change direction, yeah? So instead of going down and back first, we're going to go bend the knees, forward and up and around. And we keep working with this, again, to the rhythm and pace that feels right. And I actually feel quite a bit of work happening here, particularly through the legs, because I'm pushing down a little bit. So we're getting that little bit of strength, a little bit of activation into the backs. Obviously, if you feel like you can let go of the hands, that's also perfect. But if it's quite helpful to have them there as feedback, that's also really good to stay with. Nice. And then we can try this in different positions, right? So we can step maybe the one foot forward, the other foot back, and then we're going to try to make these little circles. And I can instantly feel there that I have a little bit of tightness at the front of my left hip. And we keep going with those for a few rounds. And then you can swap direction. So as we explore the movement in different shapes as well, it just gives other muscles an opportunity to kind of get a little bit of movement going, get a little stretch, lengthening. Good, and then we'll swap it out, other side. And you're just feeling into maybe how one side compares to the other, just as an observational tool, yeah. And I know you're like maybe thinking, what does this have to do with my jaw tension? Well, it actually has quite a bit to do with your jaw tension, because we know that through fascial connections that our pelvis, particularly our pelvic floor, is connected to our jaw, our sacrum connected to our neck, right? So everything that happens below has an impact above, and vice versa, right? So we want to keep everything nice and moving. Okay, we'll give that a little moment. I'm going to shake it out a little bit because that was actually quite a bit of work on my legs. Just let it go, or maybe even just take a little pause, see what feels good for you. Sorry, my mic is flipped over. Hopefully I didn't lose the sound there. Okay. This next one we're going to do is called a myofascial forward fold. And what makes it myofascial is that we're going to go really slow. So just standing up in a nice neutral position. You might even just notice how your pelvis feels maybe a little bit different now compared to when we first started. And then we're going to just tuck the chin in, and almost as though you're kind of moving through like molasses or honey, whatever your favorite food reference is. We're going to slowly come down, and it should take maybe even up to a minute. Just slowly come all the way down. Head is heavy. You can take a bend in your knees. Just conscious of my mic here. I'm going to actually pop it out for a second, but keep talking into it. And you ignore this right hand of mine as we come into that forward fold. And you might be up here, you might be even further down. Just see wherever you come to. And then whenever you come to the place where you feel like, yeah, that's about it, you might just stay there for a moment. Notice where you feel the stretch, where you feel the lengthening. Head is heavy. Notice your breath. Notice if you want to stay here for a bit longer, or maybe you feel like it's already time to come back up to standing. Actually notice as I'm there for a little bit longer, actually certain things kind of release and let go. But that might not be the case every day or for everyone. And then kind of in the same way, we're going to slowly start to come up. Again, I'm just holding my mic, so ignore my right arm. As we come all the way up to standing. And just take a little moment. Maybe there's a little bit of a head rush if you came up too quick, or maybe you need to take a big breath. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to work with our neck a little bit now. Let me see if I can sort this out. Apologies. Okay, so thinking about our head and neck position, we can do this from seated as well. So if you feel like, yeah, I'm about ready to come down and take a little seat, go ahead and do that. I might do the same. So quite often when we're sitting at our desk, and I catch myself doing this all the time. So even if I keep my phone up here, I'll feel my chin moving forward in space. And what that's doing is it's putting a lot of pressure on these little muscles at the top of my spine, right? I'm sticking the chin out. Head is quite a heavy part of our anatomy, and it's also putting a lot of pressure on the base of the neck, right? So what I want to do is just, whenever I feel that happening, right, it's going to inevitably happen and it's okay, right? But we're just becoming a little bit more aware of it. We're becoming more conscious of when we do it, maybe. So just to retrain these muscles, we're going to think about the base of the spine here. There's a little kind of a nodule, a little bumpy bit of bone that sticks out there. So you might just start to move your head back in space from that place. And, you know, you will get that sort of double chin type situation. And that's okay. That's kind of what we're going for. And then see if you can just move your head forward without sticking out the chin. So it'll be a really small movement. And then just bringing the chin back. So you'll feel a little bit of activation through the back of the head here. And then move the chin, move the head forward without sending the chin to do the work. So I'm moving the head back in space and forward. So it's super micro movements. You know, if you're at your desk, people probably wouldn't even notice you were doing this. But we're just gently retraining some of those muscles. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. I can feel mine sort of tensing up when I try to do that because it's difficult. Difficult for me anyway. And bring your head back in space. Good. And then we can add on to that a little bit, yeah? So taking the hands behind the head, so we cup the base of the skull. And that's also going to help to kind of keep that positioning, the lengthening of the back of the neck. And we're going to push back. You can keep your elbows wide. Push back for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release. Maybe you feel the muscles that are activating and releasing. And we'll do the same forward, yeah? So I'm going to make a little sort of fist with my hand. Just place it to the forehead. Again, I'm thinking about the back of the neck long. I'm thinking about the base of the skull. And I'm going to push forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And gently release. And again, maybe you feel that kind of release of sensation around the neck. So we'll try 2 more. Just to activate the muscles at the side of the neck here. And this is also really helpful for the jaw. So I'm going to take my left hand to the side of the head. Doesn't matter which side you do first, we'll do both. And this is called isometric movement, right? We're pushing towards the hand. And again, you won't see very much, right? It's not a very exciting practice to watch maybe, but you'll feel the effects, hopefully. Through the side of your neck, and then gently release. And then we'll finish just by taking the other hand, pushing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And gently release and notice, sense, and feel whatever you notice in your own body. Notice your breath now. Good, okay. Thank you so much for joining me in this video today. I hope you found some of those tools useful to take with you into your day. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and keep an eye out for the next video in this sequence. Okay, have a good one.